So we're starting off with brows partially covered. I covered just the outside edges of my brows, and I am using a light brown eyeshadow to sketch out a very, very fine brow that thickens toward the inner edge. And the inner edge, we're going to make sure that we keep it lighter than the rest of the brows so that it's not as harsh and looks a little bit more natural. And then I'm going to use a brow gel just to kind of aim those brow hairs in the inner edge, at the inner edge upwards. So we now have a very typical 30s arched brow. There were many different shapes in the 30s, but this is one of them. And it's basically a very thin arched brow. And now I'm evening out the color on my eyelid with a powder foundation, and then I'm also going to top that with a primer. And I'm also going to put that primer underneath the eyes. Next, I'm going to take a muted matte nude shadow, and I'm going to place that all over the lid from the lash line to the brow. We want to keep all shimmer out of this look, especially at the brow, because we've covered our brows and the shimmer will draw attention to any imperfections there. I'm also using a satin, very, very sheer silver shade over my entire lid. And I'm trying to concentrate more color at the inner eye rather than the outer eye, because the crease was not usually highlighted in the 30s. It was typically, the shadow was typically drawing attention to the inner edge of the eye, similar to the 20s, where drama was very, very in vogue. And now I'm going to take a very, very satin finish and soft shade of brown, and I'm going to take a blending brush and apply that over the silver shadow that I just applied, and just further enhance that shadow at the inner edge of the eye, or at the inner corners of the eye, going towards the brow. Now I'm going to take a very, very pigmented matte purple or violet shade, and I'm going to apply that to the outer edge of my lid only. I'm not going to concentrate much in the crease, as I said, and I'm going to use a blending brush to make sure I blend that really, really well. Blending it towards the inner lid, but concentrating most of the color on the outer lid. And violet was a very popular eyeshadow color in the 30s, especially for brown eyes. So we're using that to kind of keep some authenticity in this look. Now I'm using a black kohl pencil and lining my upper lash line, keeping the line pretty thick so we can thicken that top lash line. And then I'm also going to apply kohl pencil to the bottom and use a pencil brush to smoke it out, similar to our 1920s look here. There was a lot of emphasis on the lower lash line in the 20s and 30s, and this again enhanced drama. You would also apply a white liner to the waterline. I completely forgot to with this tutorial, but that would typically be what was done, especially for cinematic makeup, because it helped open up the eyes more. Okay, now I'm taking a slate gray eyeshadow, and I'm penciling in a very, very subtle wing down at the lower outer edge of my eye. Don't want it to be an uplifted wing like we would do in the 1940s or 50s. These wings lent themselves to more of a droopier eye, but it was very popular to wing the shadow. I'm also applying mascara to the top and the bottom lashes, and I'm applying a very subtle, thick, full false lash to the outer edge of the eye. Now I'm going to use concealer to clean up any fallout and also to erase any imperfections from the skin. I've already applied foundation before I started, and it was a matte, very full coverage foundation. Pancake makeup would work even better. And I'm also going to take a muted blush and contour my cheeks just a little bit, not much. And now I have taken a dark wine lip pencil, and I've already concealed my lips with a concealer, and I'm redrawing the shape. into what was typically known in the 1930s as the smear or the hunter's bow. This is actually a lip shape that was made famous by Max Factor for Joan Crawford because he felt her lips were uneven. So this was a very, very dramatic lip shape, and it actually looked very flat on the bottom lip as well. The bottom lip was drawn so that it was very full at the sides and kind of straight across. There wasn't much of a pout. It was flat across the bottom. And so the lips kind of had a very elongated appearance. Now I'm going to use a lip brush and very, very specifically or very carefully color in my lips using deep burgundy lip color. And I'm also going to apply a shiny lip lacquer by NYX to give the lips a gloss. That was also popular in the 30s. Sometimes lips were matte, sometimes they were glossy. Okay, so now I'm going to moving on to the hair, and I've curled my hair all over with foam rollers, very small ones, so that I can get some of that 50 or some of that 30s fluff that you would see. It was very popular in the bobbed haircuts of the 30s to have a lot of volume. And then I'm going to take individual sections and brush them against my hair to kind of piece those curls out and keep the fluffy appearance but without the frizz. I'm going to make sure and smash the top down as much as possible because there was no volume typically in the top in the 1930s, and we're going to make sure we keep that authenticity there as well. And then I'm going to just continue to kind of brush these sections around my hands and shape the curls as I see fit. I decided to leave a few loose curls across my forehead instead of one piecey bang. Also aiming this section upwards so that there is a real obvious kind of shelf there of curl. I'm just kind of forming these curls. Foam rollers are so easy to mold and to build, so you can, this is all to your taste. You can do whatever you'd like here. And because my hair is not in a blunt angular bob, I do have to form it a little bit more than you would if your bob was an angular bob. So here's the back, and that's the 1930s. I hope you liked it. That was fun. Bye.